Finally available with a retro-inspired look is Nissan's eagerly anticipated next-generation Z sports car, the 2023 Nissan Z Model. This model is one of Nissan's strategies to shift the public's focus from the crisis with the bad CEO, Carlos Ghosn. Over the years, the Nissan Z has maintained its status as one of the most recognizable and popular sports cars in automotive history, garnering a massive base of sports car lovers that is still as strong as the day it originally took driving fans by storm in 1969. This new model is another feather to the successful hat of Nissan Z. The Nissan Z series is a line of sports cars produced by Nissan. There are 7 generations in total, with the first debuting in October 1969. The Z series survived through 6 generations, the last of which, at 11 years, tied the second generation 300ZX Z32 as the longest-running series. However, after the previous generation, doubt lingered for the Z. This was due to the organizational crisis that rocked the automobile giants just a few years ago. And another key fact, the rapid transition going on in the automobile world from internal combustion engines to electric vehicles. Nissan basically allowed the 370Z, the last Z car before the 2023 Nissan Z, to become obsolete in a rapidly evolving industry. The 2023 Nissan Z can be said to have a sizable gap to fill as a vehicle that follows a lengthy line of Z automobiles. The new Nissan Z is so similar to the original Z proto design model that it is essentially quite hard to tell them apart, which is more often than not the case with cars in modern times. In addition to paying homage to the iconic 240Z that was the very first in the model line, the long bonnet's elevated center portion and large front air inlet seem contemporary. A brief trip down memory lane concerning the original Z would further buttress this point, and the Datsun 240Z is where the 7 generations of the Nissan Z series begin. The history of this timeless sports car began with the then Nissan president, Yutaka Katayama, who was tasked with introducing the Datsun brand to America in the early 1960s. Early vehicles, primarily small utility vehicles, had modest sales, but Katayama identified a demand for inexpensive sports cars similar to those made in Britain. With the appropriate design and performance, the 240Z supported its sport car goal when it debuted on the American market. A series of 4-seat roadsters with stodgier styling inspired by 1950s British sports cars were overtaken by the 2-seat fastback coupe known as the 240Z. The 240Z's big bonnet covered a 2.4-liter inline-6 engine with 150 horsepower and a 4-speed manual transmission. Nissan stated that it might reach 125 miles per hour, which was not bad for a car that officially debuted in 1970. A brief rundown on all the other vehicles in the Z series is necessary to fully understand and recall the legacy this line of sports cars has built over the years. The 260Z was manufactured for fewer than 18 months from the fall of 1973 to the very end of 1974. The early 260Zs resembled their 240Z predecessors in appearance, but they differed so significantly that Nissan wrote a 200-plus page book comparing and contrasting the two models. I bet you didn't know that. The 260Z increased engine capacity from 2.4 liters in the 240Z to 2.6 liters with a power of 162 horsepower. It also had a redesigned dashboard, door panels, and taillights, amongst other updated features. The Datsun 280Z, which should not be confused with the 280ZX, was introduced in 1975 in North America. It had an additional engine displacement increase of 2.8 liters compared to the 260Z models. Bosch fuel injection was also a significant improvement over the earlier SU carburetors. As a result, the power rose to 170 horsepower. It also increased weight due to luxury additions to the sports car. The Nissan S130 sports vehicle, which is the second generation of the Z car series, is the Datsun 280ZX that was described earlier. It is still accessible in 2+2 or 2-seater configurations. Additional emission standards reduced horsepower to 135 while maintaining a 3-speed automatic and making a 5-speed the only manual transmission option. the car started to veer more towards luxury with softer suspension bushings, improved interior fittings, and increased noise insulation. The next generation of the Z cars was the 300ZX, with two generations, namely Z31 and Z32. Many car lovers consider the Nissan 300ZX as one of the series' best, if not the best, Grand Tour. The 3-liter twin-turbo V6 was a very fast engine, and the independent suspension system was groundbreaking then. The 300ZX had a very macho appearance thanks to its precisely sized wheels, T-top roof, and slickly fitted rear spoiler, amongst other features. It also had many special editions. With sales of over 70,000 units, this sports automobile became the second best-selling Z car, largely thanks to its new luxurious features, including body-sonic leather seats and even better performance. Nissan ultimately discarded the name Datsun for good with the 1985 model. The 350Z comes next with a transmission speed of a 6-speed manual or 5-speed automatic. The Nissan 350Z, a 2-door, 2-seat sports car, began Nissan Z car manufacturing in 2002 and ended the 6-year production pause in the US. Nissan's market presence was revitalized with the 350Z, a slender and elegant makeover of the 240Z. Although the 350Z lacked eloquent brake cooling, which has always been a weakness of the Z. The 2010 Nissan 370Z Coupe, manufactured in 2009, was a mainstay of the Nissan portfolio. Its sleek and clean aerodynamic chassis was packed with excellent performance, thanks to the V6 engine and optional 7-speed automatic transmission. The 6-speed manual transmission with a downshift rev matching feature was brought back to simulate driving heel and toe without learning the technique. These features made it quite competitive in the market. That's a wrap on the previous generations. Reminiscing on them has painted a picture of what the Z series is all about. It's time to go back to the discussion's main subject, which is the 2023 Nissan Z model. The 2023 Nissan Z model arrived just as it was believed that the 370Z signaled the end of the Z series. It has even been referred to as the return of a legend. It was also the first Z car whose name lacked a model number. Under the hood, a 3-liter V6 twin-turbo engine that generates 400 horsepower and 350 foot-pounds of torque has replaced the previous turbocharged engine. The 7-speed is replaced by a new 9-speed automatic, but the 6-speed remains unchanged, with a 0 to 60 mile/hour time in the middle of the 4-second range. It's worthy of note that the Toyota Supra is believed to serve as its main rival. The style of the original 240Z is unquestionably still present in the design. In fact, this time around, designers paid more attention to it. The 370Z is nearly identical in size, except for a few extra inches of length fore and aft, while the squared-off rear and the taillights pay homage to the Z32 300ZX. The daytime running lights and more sloping roofline are details borrowed from the first-generation Datsun 240Z. The headlights are a throwback to the 240Z model, with a glass covering over the headlights that give it a somewhat oval shape. There's also a Y shape on the hood, which is a tribute to the original model. Not to forget the front grille of the car, which received harsh criticisms when the prototype was first released a while back. This was because it was a large black rectangular grille. But in the 2023 Z, the front grille consists of smaller rectangles as a response to the earlier criticisms. The front grille was also a tribute to the 240Z model, and the door handle style is a throwback to the Z33 that debuted in 2003. The iconic sports car has quite several similarities to its predecessor, and as said before, the 2023 Nissan Z has a lot of similarities with the old 370Z, such as the same door-mounted climate control vent, heated seat button, parking brake, tailgate button, and door panel, among others. Criticism has come from car enthusiasts who are not pleased with the fact that the Nissan Z has a lot of similarities to the 370Z. Well, this is not to dispute the presence of newer features. The 2023 Nissan Z has quite a massive fuel door, allowing the fuel nozzle not to hit the body of the car. But the exhaust note is not aggressive enough, unlike that of its main rival, Toyota Supra. A raked roofline, a streamlined control panel, and the vintage Z emblem are some classy additions to the 2023 Nissan Z car. Other specifications include better brakes, dual-zone automatic climate control, and power-adjustable seats with faux suede upholstery. In the words of the automobile giant itself, it is a perfect blend of power and grip. Future Z-car generations might be electric since the firm has yet to consider producing an 8th generation. We'll have to wait and see, but it just might be electrified as it could prove to be a sure way to extend the Z-car series.